everyone, welcome back to the Peilcast podcast with myself, Dave Carabini, my friends Bill Gain and Jack McArdle. This week we're delighted to be joined by Aidan Larkin and Dean Arrowsmith from Head in the Game, and later on we'll be joined by their good friend Steph, who are the founders of Head in the Game, which is a campaign to encourage League of Ireland supporters to talk more about their mental health. Lads, if you just want to come in there and just give us a brief overview of what yous are all about. Dean, would you like to come in there?
Yeah. Sorry, go on ahead.
No, you go ahead, Scott.
So look, we're just a group of League of Ireland fans who got together there back in 2020 after, unfortunately, the timely death of the up fan, Harry Taff. And we decided to get together and we had a look at, like, kind of saying, can we start some sort of kind of campaign to raise a bit more awareness around mental health in the League of Ireland. We seen there wasn't too many campaigns like nationally around that there. There was kind of all kind of small club campaigns were doing fantastic jobs. So we just seen there was a vacuum there and we just kind of jumped on it and got together and formed Head in the Game, with trying to create as much awareness around mental health and positive mental health within the League of Ireland, within fans, coaches, players, and we're stretching into the wider Irish footballing community and sporting community all together eventually. So that's a brief kind of overview of how we kind of started and what we're kind of about.
Yeah, it's a great initiative, I have to say, and I was just doing a bit of digging around just and just seeing, like, you're partnered with Jigsaw and Shine Ireland, which are two very well known mental health charities, mental health organisations that are kind of at the forefront of helping people. You're kind of promoted through the hashtag of keep your head in the game. Partnered with Umbro as well, which is a great little tool for yourselves, because it does help. Like, when you see people buying the jerseys, the training tops, the half zips is the one that I have myself. It's great to see. Like, it's nationwide now, and it's nearly pushing on to be a bit more worldwide, I think. It's been a great rise to prominence for yourselves, hasn't it?
Yeah, like, over the last 2 years, if you said we'd be in the position this campaign would be in now, we'd be kind of like choking and laughing, going, no, not an airplane. It just goes to show the need that there was for this kind of campaign within the League of Ireland. That's what we always say, because we just rose so fast, so quickly. And as you said there, just touch back on two charities, Shine and Jigsaw. You said fantastic charities, providing kind of across this mental health help across the whole spectrum of between young ages, older people, families, and supports and that. So they're great. Then we're officially, as you saying, part with Umbro again. Umbro, fantastic gear. Bespoke gear as well, which is and it's lovely quality too. And now we're actually officially partnered with the the Players Football of Ireland Association, and we're partnered with them as well, which is it's fantastic. Again, partnering with them gives us a bit of insight then into the players, and because the players kind of as well, sometimes they're overlooked. Their mental health awareness and mental health is overlooked also. So that's a kind of another area that we're touching. But as you said there, it's 2 years, coming up to 2 years now, and we still even said that we still have a lot more to do, and a lot more to come. And we're only getting started. But for the minute now, it's just, for the past 2 years, been fantastic. Just the whirlwind, just kind of the publicity that we're getting, the kind of interest and everything from, and again, worldwide as well. So that's still in infancy stages. But it's getting well recognized. And again, just shows the vacuum that's kind of needed for mental health awareness within sport, and the initiative that's needed. It's needed in the current climate for everybody, but it just goes to show that we don't want to leave our League of Ireland fans and our footballing fans and players, coaches, and families with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. From my own point of view, I'm a Drogheda United fan, and then obviously at the start of 2021, there was the initiative where Drogheda were kind of selling the naming rights to the club of the ground of United Park to the highest bidder, basically. And the idea that was like an auction nearly to name the ground. And I think the one that was named, the Head in the Game Park, was the one that was voted on the most by the fans and by the club itself. So it's now Head in the Game Park. It's great to have the name of the organisation of the campaign to be attached to one of the Premier Division clubs. Like it's great.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, did they get on to you about that originally?
Yeah, look, I tell you, that all came about. That was actually all thanks to Sinn Féin Council, Joanna Bone in Drogheda, and honestly, we can't thank her enough for. And it was all down to her. It was actually, I think there was a raffle or draw when Drogheda United Club members, and she won the draw, and she was able to choose what game name she wanted, and then she got in contact with us asking could she use us. Then we had the game park, we're like, just fantastic, and Conor Hoy and Drogheda as well. He's been absolutely fantastic too. He couldn't done enough for us, like, and we owe him a lot. We owe him a lot, Joanna Bone a lot. That kind of gives, like, that was early in infancy, that was, and we have to say that gave us real legitimacy and kind of thing. It helped us, really helped propel us, like, and yeah, it was fantastic, and we weren't expecting it, and just come out of the blue. And again, we can't thank them enough for that. And again, now I want to say this is the second year now they've done it. Again, they've toned down big sponsorship as well. Again, keep heading the game park, which is again fantastic. That was Conor Hoy this time, so we have to give him a big shout out and a big thanks for that. Like,
yeah, for me personally, you know, as a Drogheda fan, Conor's done a great job for us. He's stabilised the club a lot since he took over. But yeah, it's been kind of, it's mad, like, how it's just grown. And for me as an outsider, I'm obviously not involved with the initiative or anything like that, but seeing it from my own point of view, have my own issues with mental health in football and stuff like that as well. It is amazing to see such a great campaign picking up legs at the top level of the game in the country. But like, what's the plan now from here on, going into, as you say, you're coming up with the second anniversary. I think it's August 2020. I think you started up. So, you know, coming up to August 2022, like, what are the plans now for the future?
Yeah. So, sorry, Ed.
No, I was going to say, let Dean take that.
Yeah, Dean, fire away.
Yeah, no. So I think, you know, we're at a point in our growth that we need to start, you know, taking action. So I think one of the biggest things that you'll see, and it might not be ready or probably won't be ready by August, you know, we want to start going out and delivering talks into League of Ireland clubs, schoolboy clubs, around mental health, and let people within the dressing room know, you know, that they're not on their own, and it's a team sport. And if you have issues, that you can speak to your teammates, you can speak to your coaches, speak to people involved in your club. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we're looking to get off the ground before the end of this year, to develop this talk and to get it out into the public eye. And we're getting closer to finalising that. So hopefully, you know, August might come a little bit too soon, but fingers crossed, it won't be too long after that we'll be able to get that on the road. And it's just, I suppose, we're just continuing to build with our partners, you know, with Shine and Jigsaw, with the PFA Ireland. We haven't probably done enough with them yet, and, you know, just because we're busy, they're busy, we're continuing to grow. And where you touched on earlier, you know, about how we're starting to get recognised worldwide. I'm based out in America, and we've got quite a bit of recognition out here in the US, especially over the past maybe 6 to 8 months. But I think, you know, a long-term aim for us as a committee is we would love Heading the Game to become the equivalent of what Show Racism the Red Card is, but for mental health. You know, that it becomes the worldwide, Heading the Game becomes almost that symbol for positive mental health in football. And, you know, the things, as you say, that Drogheda United have done by naming the ground Heading the Game Park. During Mental Health Month in May, we had all the League of Ireland clubs, and both on the male and female side, the captains all wore Heading the Game armbands. So it's just, I suppose, it's continuing to get our message across, and using League of Ireland, using Irish football as kind of like that vessel for that is probably what's important for us as we continue to go forward.
Yeah, that's brilliant to see. And as you say, you're out in America and getting the recognition out there. And you know, I think you touched on it there with the male and female clubs wearing the Heading the Game captain's armbands. And I think that's a really important point as well. I think Bill wants to come in on that about inclusivity within the game. Like, you know, it is a game for all. It's everyone's game, I think, is the saying that people say. So to have everyone included, and, you know, male and female clubs, is just, it's great to see that everyone's getting on board. Like, Bill, what would you have to say about that?
Yeah, I suppose, again, about the inclusivity and about, you know, football's for everyone. From my own perspective in grassroots, whatever, I as a child, I suppose I have a condition called dyspraxia, so it meant I was never very, talented football or whatever. So what I found is that like I spent my entire time as a child going to training sessions or whatever, and I think I might have played 20 minutes of football in my entire of match time in my entire career or whatever. So I suppose like, or that's what it felt like to me or whatever. So I think this perspective of being inclusivity for all or whatever is important, because like on the topic of academy players and going to League of Ireland academies, like we're building up all these players. They're the best in their school, they're the best in their class, and being bluntly speaking, a lot of them amount to nothing. Like, or they mightn't have careers in the game that they suspect. So like, what you're seeing as well, the academy dropouts in football, and whether it be League of Ireland academies or further afield in the UK or whatever, the effect that it can have on these young people when their entire lives are built up as the footballer or the star or whatever, and then realistically it's the 1% of the 1% that make it. And I think we're building up some of these young people to fail, unfortunately. And I think it's why mental health is so important to talk about with these people or young people.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with 100%. I would have had a similar experience growing up as you, Bill. I had a condition when I was playing underage football. It was called I was shite. But I probably didn't have coaches that gave me opportunities to play, and for whatever reason, you know what I mean, I didn't get that chance to develop. And it sounds like your story is a little bit similar. And you're talking about on the academy structure where it's only that top 1% make it, and I think Stefan's on the call. He'll be able to talk maybe from the perspective of that 1% that make it, but then he dropped out of the league unfortunately at an early age too. But yeah, I think it's important to get in at the younger ages, especially nowadays where coaching standards have risen. But then we're also in an era, where people have social media. There's a lot more match analysis at the academy level, where they're going through game tape. And I see it out here. We're just actually using it in our club this week to start using it for next season. We're trialing something. And it's kind of like, as a coach anyway, from my perspective, I can't say that the players will watch that video and tell me everything you've done wrong. You have to, as a coach, you have to tell them, well, look at what you've done well, look at what you can improve on. And that might be talking very directly from coaching terms, but it's actually, I'm being very selective of what I say to the players in terms of their mental health, because it's very easy in today's age, in this technological age, to look at a tape like that and all you'll see is your faults. And once you see all your faults, that's going to have that negative connotation, and it's going to negatively affect people's mental health. So for me, I think it's very important as head in the game that we're not just looking at the elite. And we said this very early on. I mean, when we started off, it was just League of Ireland, but I think within probably 48 hours of setting up, we said this is a much wider discussion, and it goes to grassroots level. It goes, it doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't matter if you're a referee, if you're a coach. It goes for anyone involved in the game of football, because it's all relatable. So I think it's very important that we our message gets out at the younger ages and helps the next generation that are coming through.
And Stefan, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, just like some of the very important topics you've discussed along there with Bill and Dean, we sort of said, that mental health can affect anybody. It doesn't bias against anybody because of their nationality, because of their race, because of their gender, whatever. It affects everybody, and that's particularly important why we wanted to start just, not focusing on the men's league in the League of Ireland. We wanted to include the women's national league, and we done promo videos last year whenever COVID was happening and fans weren't able to get to the games. We tried to get captains from each of the teams in the women's national league and the League of Ireland to send a wee promo video. We put them together, and little pieces like that, and we gained more recognition sort of that way, and people started asking questions, which was exactly what we wanted. And then the amount of people that have reached out to us, I think, even speaking on podcasts, players that fans that look up to on the pitch, and he's a great life and he's a footballer, and everyone has struggles and different points of their life where they can be affected by mental health in particular. So I think little things like that, just and then withdraw the United name in the stadium, and then they were good enough to name the stadium again this year after. It's just getting our name out there, and you know, the more people, we're all about just, if we can help somebody, you know, we're doing a good thing. And you know, it's not like years ago where, you know, you can just say, you know, just get on with it. If you get a setback, you get a knockback, oh, come on, deal with it, man up. We need to remove the stigma around that and make people comfortable. And just with my own club, look, I've 5 kids myself, and 2 of them are just starting their football journey, and one of them's 11 years old. They were going over to Blackpool Cup with their local club, and you know, a couple of the managers approached me and said, look, it'd be great, you know, to team up and start a conversation with the young lads around mental health. It mightn't be getting too hot and heavy or serious, but once they've a safe place that can come and speak to people, make it comfortable for them, and any issues they're having at home or at school or even within the football club itself, and they're able to have that place where they mightn't necessarily have it at home. So look, we try to be inclusive of everyone, and you know, even listening to Bill and you know the struggles he went through, and then for him to still have the love for the game is incredible. So fair play, Bill, for that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're completely right there. Like, it's the inclusivity is everything for me. Like, and you know, you look at the supports in place at the moment aren't enough in my opinion. Like, I went back to college to study sports psychology to kind of get a better understanding of the way like professional players' brains work. And what I was looking into was more kind of the supports there for young players that don't make it abroad. And I mean, it was actually, I read in the paper there a few years ago, it was Mikey Drennan, formerly of Sligo, and he played for Pats, he played for Shamrock Rovers as well, and he came back from, I think he was at West Ham over in England, and he was sent home because he was deemed not good enough. And you know, as Bill was saying, it's the 1% of the 1% that make it. Like, and by that 1%, you're looking at they could make it in League Two. And Mikey Drennan was sent home from England, and he just spiraled into a depression, thinking he was a failure. And I think it's important to get that message across to these kids that are sent home, that it's not the end of your journey just because you didn't make it in England. It's vitally important that, you know, they're kept kind of in the loop. Let them know kind of, you know, it will be okay. Just keep talking about it. Keep your head up. Keep talking about it to people that know what they're talking about, basically. Because it is something that can really badly impact somebody's life, is getting that kind of a knockback. Jack, what would you have to say about that?
Yeah, I just wanted to just touch on just the whole thing itself, really. It's just like, just looking at the head in the game, like over the last few years, like it's just something me personally obviously affected. Everyone's affected by it, like in some way, shape, or form. Like, it's just like, just think it's a great setup, like to have just around. Like, I'm involved with the local club, so I was sent over to Blackpool there, and Blackpool Club. It was great just to see the head in the game. It was great to see just like the awareness can spread even into younger age, just to know it's okay not to be okay. Like, it's really like, it's hard to put into words. It's just like the fact that it's getting out there at a young age can maybe just prevent people from obviously the inevitable of just bottling up their emotions and being afraid to talk to someone. Like, the fact that someone's always going to be there is just so important to be taught and drilled in their head at a young age. Like, not to bottle up people, not to keep things to yourself. Like, just looking from my point of view, like, I'm 19, I'm only at secondary school and all that. And like, to be sometimes like you'd hear people, and it's not like it's a rare thing, but you'd hear people just bottle everything up and then just break down like that, like straight away gone. Like, it's just like sad to see it, like the fact like that the awareness wasn't there, or wasn't as much there as it is now, like, because it could have saved a lot of people, and it could have just made it a lot easier going forward for the mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, David.
No, go ahead, Dean. Yeah, no.
Just while Jack was talking about that and people bottling things up, we just done an interview recently, myself and Aidan, with John Connolly. He's a goalkeeper. He's most renowned for playing with Cliftonville up the north for 8 years, and you know, he went through a lot of things and different affects different people in different ways, but he'd a lot of close family members sort of die in the space of 3 years. I think he had 4 close family members, and like he said, you know, bottling it up and not talking to somebody, and you know, it just got to a point where he just didn't see a way out. He wasn't happy within himself, and he seemed to be losing everyone around him. And you know, he just came to the realization. There's a bit of a story behind it, but he ended up coming to the realization that once he went and talked to somebody, it just gave him the power back. And you know, from that, just even from that, and I spoke to a charity called Back on Side, and they got him the help that he needed. And now he's like an advocate for, you know, going out and speaking to people to get the help itself. So little things like talking is the massive one. If you can just, you know, it mightn't be a big, hot and heavy thing, but if you're feeling any way down and you're just talking to your friend or talking to a parent or, you know, a family member, even sometimes people aren't comfortable talking to somebody they know, and if they can just go and seek the help and talk to somebody, the difference it makes. You know, everyone that we've come across that sort of got help, either through us or just on their own accord, the difference it makes to people just speaking to somebody about their issues is massive. And look, I think we can't emphasize that enough, how much it helps.
Yeah, Aidan, would you like to come in on that? You're on mute there.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, just to say that, just to touch on what Jack was saying there, like, Jack's a prime example of lads like him we're trying to aim to get, like, and trying to aim up to talk about, to kind of create awareness, not be afraid to ask their mates, are they okay? Not be afraid to talk about their kind of feelings, how they're feeling, to their emotions, to their mates. Like we all have mental health, whether it be good, bad. We all go through the roller coaster of life's ups and downs, and we have to recognize that. Like, we have to get young fellas to recognize that. Young lads, especially young lads who don't want to talk about things, like, who are afraid to, like, the need to feel the need to keep their emotions in. We need to get rid of all that, like, and tell them, like, and just talking about Jack's age, he's saying he's 19, right? I'm not 100% sure, don't quote me on my figures, right? But we are, like, I think it could be the 7th or 8th highest suicide rate per capita in Europe. But when it comes to the demographic of, I think it's like 17-year-olds or 17-year-olds at 25, I think it could be the 4th or 3rd highest we have, which is, it's a massive figure for such a small nation that we have. Like don't get me wrong, we are very inclusive of everybody. We're for the broader region of all ages, genders, everything. But there is a target audience there, young lads there, which is a high number of suicides in Ireland. We're trying to kind of chip away at there for them. Like, as I'll use a famous quote from Dean, not trying to reinvent the wheel, we're just trying to chip away at it bit by bit, like. And that's what we're trying to get at, like. And it's great there to see Jack there talking about there, just coming out of school and that, like. And it's great to get to see him talking about his mates as well, like. So and that's what we're aiming for. It's positive, and that's all we ask people just to get involved with us, like. They're not even asking for money or anything that there, like. There is time to do fundraising and all. What we ask for, just kind of spreading awareness, to talk. Don't be afraid to ask your friend. Don't be afraid to see someone down. Don't be afraid to even talk to someone about it as well. Like, we're always kind of like preaching to our kids and all that, like, let's all talk about it. But another key thing we kind of forget about is, don't be afraid to listen. Don't be afraid to listen to a friend who's down. Don't be afraid to, if a friend needs someone to talk to or something like that there. Like, some people find it hard to listen to people because they don't know what to say to them. Like, sometimes you don't even have to say it. Sometimes just to listen to people. Again, listen to your friends and even talk to them as well. Like.
Yeah, Dean, do you want to come in there?
Yeah, I think just to emphasise that kind of last point that Aidan made, and with what Steph was saying about, you know, being willing to talk, and I can say firsthand, and I'm sure the lads will agree, you know, on our committee, every one of us over the past 2 years has gone through some kind of situation that's negatively impacted our mental health, and having each other as a group, and we wouldn't have been a circle of friends probably before we set up heading the game, but having each other that we can speak to has been vitally important, and I feel like it's helped every one of us at some point or another over the last 2 years. And then just, you know, following on from what Aidan says, there is being willing to listen and being willing to actively listen. And people don't realise that listening is actually a skill. You know, to be able to listen to someone when they tell you, look, I'm struggling, I'm having a bad day. You know, it could be something as simple as, you know, I got a flat tire, and then if you turn around and tell them, well, I got a flat tire the other day and I was grand, you're minimizing how that person is feeling. So being actually willing to listen to how they're feeling at that moment in time can make a hell of a lot of difference. So I think that's, if anybody that's listening to this can take that away today, I think it has to be, it is okay to speak about how you're feeling, but if someone comes to you and tells you how they're feeling, you have to be willing to listen and properly listen to how they're feeling, and don't minimize their feelings based on your own experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's something that's really, really important, is like everything impacts everyone differently. It's it's all dependent on how they react to things. We all, like, some people, it's like taste. Some people like certain types of foods and other people don't, and it's the exact same thing when it comes to this with mental health and how it makes you feel. Like, as you say, if you get a flat tire, it might be the end of the world for one person. Then another person will just be like, "Ah, sure, it's just a minor inconvenience." And even on that, it could be a minor inconvenience one day, and then another day it's the end of the world. It's all dependent on your current situation. Like, we're all complex beings. Like, it's I don't want to get too deep with it now, but it is a massive thing that, like, different things can impact different people at different times differently. It's what makes the world what it is. Like, it's a complex place, and we all have different things going on in our lives, and we don't know what as people say, if you want to know me, walk 100 miles in my shoes or whatever. Like, it's we all have different things going on, and we all need to just respect the fact that other people will be upset by other things.
That's it. Like, I'll jump in there. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, no, that's it. Like we all, like, as you hit the nail on the head there. Like, someone else's kind of major problem could be someone else's kind of small little issue that they can breeze over. Whether people will kind of struggle with the smaller things, and then other people might even struggle with bigger things, right? And might just breeze over. So we're all different people. We all react differently in that there. So, and that's why we have to kind of treat everyone kind of differently at the same time. Like, and I think so. That's why you're 100% right. Like, I was talking to one of our charity partners last year, Jigsaw, one of the workers in there, and he was kind of describing how mental health kind of works with people. He was saying, like, life's just kind of like a roller coaster. We're going to have our ups, we're going to have our downs. We just need to have to know when we're down, what kind of tools we can use to get ourselves out of the down and bring ourselves back up to the ups. Like, and life's like that. Like, and it's going to be a circle of it. Like, and you're going to have your good days, you're going to have your bad days, but it's just how you're going to be able to recognize that you have your bad days and kind of move on with them pretty quickly. If you can, like, but again, each people's different. Like, some people might be able to, so they might need help to do that. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in ever having to go and seek professional help or anything. Like, myself, a few years ago, I had to seek professional help, and I wasn't too bad or anything like that. I was only kind of 2 counts and nothing major, like, didn't have any kind of thing. And it was only because another fellow who went to it as well, he was having trouble with his relationship, and he went. And he says, "Look, James, I had to talk to a counsellor. It was great." He says, after one session, he said, "I felt great, like, just getting all things off my chest and all, like." And there's no ever shame in that. Like, there's not, like, no ever shame in saying for anybody you need to go and talk to any professional leader. So it's another stigma kind of chip away too. Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there's absolutely no shame in going to get a bit of professional help. Like, it's something that does need to be kind of, it's an avenue that needs to be less there needs to be less of a stigma against it. Like, it's nearly you're seen as a weakling if you go to get professional help. And I mean, again, sometimes the best help is literally just saying to your mate beside you, or one of the lads in work, or one of the lads in your team, as Jack was saying earlier on, like, are you okay? Or, look, I'm kind of struggling at the moment. And it is something that needs to be, normalized, because everyone goes through it. I think somebody said earlier on, everyone has mental health, be it good, bad, or indifferent. It is a thing that we all go through on a daily basis, and the slightest thing can inconvenience your entire day and ruin your mood and change your mood and everything. So it is important to talk about it. And and again, bringing it back to the football side of things, it's if you're struggling, maybe you're off form, or you've been given a knockback by being rejected by a club, it is important that if that's eating away at you, that you mention it to someone. Aidan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, just before I go back to the football side of things, just before you said there, like, you're 100% right, need to normalise it. Like, need to normalise it as if it's going to, if you break your arm, you go to the hospital. If you're feeling unwell, you might go to the doctor or something like that. We should be able to normalise it, that if you're feeling unwell with your mental health, to go to a counsellor. We need to normalise just like a doctor does. Like, and yeah, so you're 100% right with that. Like I'd love to see myself personally, like this is myself personally. I've been saying for the last couple of years, I'd love to see is kind of mental health education being taught in primary schools, like, because they teach sex ed, to teach other life skills and that. Like, they should be able to teach hopefully something in the curriculum in years down the line. Like,
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it is. I think schools need to, schools need to come in there nearly and make it normalized as well. And I think another thing I'd be looking at is work needs to recognise mental health days. Like if you're struggling, sometimes you just can't work, and you're better off not being there. And again, you will get the odd person that's going to try and defy the system and get the better of it and take a few extra days off. But I think it is important that employers start to recognise that mental health can be an issue, where you need to. You need a day. Even if you need a day at home, sitting in bed doing nothing, or whatever, it is something that needs to be looked at in the employment scheme. Does anybody want to come in on that?
Yeah, I'll just jump in quickly. There has been actually a school in Marion. I think, Aidan, I'm not 100% sure. You'll probably remember better than me, but they've got in touch and they sort of had talked about doing a jersey day for just wear a jersey for the day and bring in a €2, and they were sending it on to us, and then I sort of didn't hear anything back. I'm sort of PRO and looking after the social media, and then a couple of weeks back they've come back to us and said they've done 1 or 2 wee fundraisers in the school, along with raising the money for us. They've creating awareness for people in the school itself. So even little things like that, it's creeping into schools, and look, the more word we can get out there, the more people we can help, basically, or get them help. And once it spreads like that, like it has been doing so far, and even coming on, like, we're so grateful for you bringing us on today to talk to you about what we're about and different things like that. Like, some listeners might not know fully what we're about, and just to give them a little sense of what we do just might help somebody along the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say, like, if one thing that you do can help anyone, if it just helps one person, then you've done it right. Like, because that can make it, like, one person being helped by you could see them help 2 or 3 people, which could then see a chemical reaction nearly, and it'll just go through the runner, like, and everyone will then help each other. Like, it really is something
like a domino effect. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but no, look, lads, I think that's all the time that we have for today. But look, it's been a great discussion. I think it's a very important discussion. I think it's something that needs to be discussed even further, maybe even on a part 2. But no, look, you've been brilliant with your time. It's great to have you on, and keep doing the great work that you're doing, lads.
Thanks very much for giving us the opportunity to come on, lads, and it's much appreciated. I'm sure the lads will probably echo what I said. But yeah, thanks very much for giving us the time and giving us the chance to spread our message. That's what it was. Thanks again, lads.
Cheers, boys. Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming on.
Cheers.
Touch it.